will have access. So seeing a lot of llamas, I'm seeing a lot of bears, seeing a lot of friends here, monks, everyone. We are thrilled to have you all here. Thank you for joining us. We've got on a whole hour of just question and answer. Anything you guys need, we're here to help. We've had a few hiccups here in the deployment of everything, just in getting everything going and getting everyone in the game. So we promise to get to everyone's questions today. And thank you all for being here and being a part of the community. And yeah, we'll get started here in just a couple minutes. We'll get started at 5 after. So about 60 seconds here now. All right, everyone. I think we're gonna get started here now. We've got myself and Mikey and Matt up here to hopefully be able to answer just about any question you guys might have. Um, I will start looking at some people that have their hands up, bringing a couple people up here. I see two people with their hands up now. So just really quick before I start bringing people up, um, please, if possible, make sure you have looked through the recent announcements and updates that have been posted. If you still need further clarification, absolutely, by all means, come up and ask. We don't want to spend this whole hour just answering questions that have already just recently been answered in announcements or updates or are have already been articulated somewhere clearly. So like I said, if you still need further clarification, absolutely no problem. But just please make sure you've looked through things and that you're up to speed before coming up with questions. So I'm going to start bringing some people up right now, and we'll just jump right into it. I'm inviting the first three people that I saw up here on stage. So feel free to jump up. BC, my friend, did you have a question?
Hey, how are you doing? Yeah, so just wanted to say really good job deploying 6 contracts at once. It was probably really hard to do that, so props to you guys. And then second thing I wanted to ask is more of like a strategical question for someone like me in my scenario. I only have 3 Genesis bears, and I'm not looking to buy like a tree house or a token generator. I'm just looking to like purchase it with the blood that I'm going to end up swapping, but I kind of don't have a clear cut strategy slash like time holding period that I should like unstake to buy the token generator and stuff like that, because like I saw the roadmap and part of it says like, oh, like you don't want to get left behind. So it's like the amount that I have right now in terms of like my all my bears are in the battlefield, so they have the highest yield they can have. Like, what are your thoughts on like strategy for like people that don't have that much Genesis bears only?
Yeah, so I think that you have two constraints in this scenario. The first constraint is in terms of earning, in terms of with only having the three bears, which by the way is plenty of bears, only having the three bears, your daily yield is a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. Can you still hear me?
You kind of got rugged for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I saw that. My Discord app just crashed, but I'm back. All right. Sorry, Discord's trying to rug me. So yeah, I would say there's the two things to take into account are the time constraint for when the treehouse and token generator collections sell out. Um, as evidenced by the minting rate, it seems that those are the fan favorite collections right now to be acquired with BLD. They're not, near selling out yet, but people are earning quickly and reinvesting mostly back into the treehouse and token generators. So you do have that time constraint, but by putting all of your bears into a high risk mode, you also gamble losing your BLD altogether when it comes to, unstaking and claiming that BLD for a purchase. So in terms of a best strategy, it's hard. There isn't really a clear cut best strategy, or I think everyone would do it. It's mostly weighing your risk for potential reward and determining, if I were to play it safe, and let's say I just go into the barracks and I'm earning, I'm leveling up and I'm earning at X amount, I'm slowly decreasing my risk while also continuing to stack my BLD. And at that rate, I'll be able to get to this amount, or the amount of BLD that I need to mint, whatever, however many token generators or tree houses that I want. And then watching the amount of each collection that has been minted and just kind of keeping an eye on, okay, like tree houses look like they're really going to sell out in the next week or in the next 2 weeks or 2 days or whatever it looks like, and then playing based off that. Because that's really your biggest constraint, is not wanting to risk losing all your BLD, but also be having it be a battle against time when trying to mint collections that are everyone is trying to mint. So it's not as straightforward of an answer as I'm sure you were hoping for, but unfortunately, there's no clear cut, this is the best way to do it.
No, yeah, I think you really clarified my main concern is like, all right, if I only have three, which seems like a little, like, am I still eligible to like even like play? And you said yeah, so I'm happy about that. And yeah, I had one more question, but it just slipped my mind, so I'll let someone else talk before I ask again.
Yeah, just if you remember it, just go ahead and give a shout, and we'll let you talk again. So, Pep, what's up, my friend? How's it going?
What's up, man? How's it going? I just had a few questions. I know you guys addressed gas, so I'm really involved in a ton of different P2Es. And as you probably know, gas is a killer. I know a lot of people probably didn't expect to pay gas, but I'm gonna just keep it straight, man. The gas on this, I don't know whether it's just due to the complexity of it. For me to have to, I know it's probably a little overestimated, but for me to have to pay 0.2 to claim, um, it's just not sustainable. So is there any plan on rewriting or any solve to it or fix to it?
Yeah, I think Matt, you might be better served for this one.
Yeah, so without question, there's an overestimation. So there's two things at play. One that's immediately solvable within the next 24 hours, and that's the gas estimator that's in our implementation on the front end is getting a bit wild with its estimates. So that's one aspect, and a lot of people that are maybe new to play to earns or even new to just the NFT space in general will see a crazy number there, and they'll be sort of immediately scared off, or they'll be worried about what's going on and so forth. So the first thing we need to do is solve that, and that will help a lot in terms of perception around the gas. The next component is, as per the announcement, you can't avoid gas right on transactions, as you've sort of alluded to. What we've got at the moment is an interface that accumulates gas into a single number So then when you're trying to claim, you're claiming the gas per NFT in one hit. So that is like, if you've got 10 NFTs, that's like 10 transactions, for example. So there's not really a way to get around the fact that when you claim, you have to pay gas. I think at a normal rate, it's something like 0.008 Ethereum, or about $23. So the way to solve that from our perspective, or the first way to tackle it, I should say, and we'll continue to look for ways to improve that, is to make a more granular claiming capacity. So you don't need to claim everything at once. If you just simply want to mint a new treehouse, you could claim your yield from one NFT. Maybe that one NFT has yielded 100K. It'll cost you $23 to claim that BLD, and then you can go and mint 3 or 4 tree houses. So we hear you on this. It's probably, or it is, it's in the top 2 of our priorities right now, and it has to be a phased approach to tackling it. And that's what we'll be doing. The first one is the gas estimation. We'll be solving that within 24 hours. Probably within 12 hours, we'll deploy an update for that. The second is to update the granular claiming, and then we'll continue to look at different ways to improve it from there.
Yeah, I'm really concerned right now as to the cost. Like my buddy right now, he has 14 bears, 2 tree houses, and 2 generators. It costs 0.65 to claim. Like if that's the case, if there's not going to be a solution, then a lot of people won't even be able to claim. And you saying that it's per NFT, I'm just using a different project, for example, Message to Martians by Inarashi. Obviously, he's an extremely good dev. If I wanted to claim, I have 3 characters and it's claiming from all the characters, it cost me 0.004. So I don't know whether it's the type of token that's being used or something, but I just want to let it be known that if gas is not fixed, the project will not be sustainable.
So gas has always been top of mind for us. If you followed us along from the beginning, you've seen we've been pretty efficient with the minting costs of everything. We obviously want to translate that through to all of the game interactions. We're not going to just rest and go, hey, look, this is what it is. You guys just have to deal with it. It's more a case of, okay, well, what's a phased approach? What are the things we can do first? The things that we can do quickest? And those are the things that I've sort of outlined. So by no means is it a case of that is what that is. It's a case of let's get these 2 things done. Let's see what that looks like. If that's still not sufficient, then we need to look at different options to improve things. So, you'll see that over not only the coming days, but obviously weeks, but, the high priority items for us are those 2 that I've articulated, and then looking at what else we can do at that point. So, rest assured we're looking at it. There's no question in my mind about that. It's just a case of, how fast and which things do we do first.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I love the concept. I think the complexity of the game is nice, you being able to choose your own path. One more thing I want to say before I go is I'm sure y'all are working on it, but I know a ton of people are confused, and just if we could have a little bit more in-depth of a guide, it'd be awesome. But keep up the good work, y'all.
Of course. So we've got a couple of things to do with that. So we've got plain sort of static content, if you will, and then we've got video-based content, which will help a lot around obviously what to do and how to do it. And then also a more detailed breakdown in terms of the specific transactions, why there's gas applied to them, what that looks like, what that should be. So then people can make decisions when, there's an element of what we can do, and then there's an element of what the network is doing in terms of congestion. So if we can give some guidance around what it should be, then that will also help with people sort of not taking actions when perhaps there's some weird event going on or congestion is high like there was this morning. So 100% agree. Content is coming in different formats.
All right, well, thank y'all for having me. I'm gonna step down.
Thank you, my friend. All right, NLG, Last Action Hero. How's it going?
It's going great. He just pretty much asked the same question I had, except I was going to ask if we have plans in order to move it to a layer 2 to help with the gas when you get that other contracts looked at and going through, just to, make it so that it is a lot easier for people to claim when they want to and claim as much as they can, because point two is still quite a bit before, and even if it goes down to, it's, over time, a lot of people don't want to spend a whole ETH in a 4 6 month period just claiming their tokens. So do you have any plans or thoughts about moving to a layer 2?
100% part of the discussion, for sure. So the main goal was obviously to deploy the project. It was a fairly complex launch considering how many contracts interact with each other and how everything essentially works. We've got past that period. We obviously hear the concerns around gas. As mentioned in the last call, we're going to tackle the things that are quick and easy to do to mitigate some of those concerns, and for sure, a layer 2. We'd even had discussions internally about that prior to launching, around specifically which layer 2 we would look at if we needed to do something. So you could say we are already reasonably advanced in the discussion and the selection of, but we're going to get these couple of things tackled first, have a look at what that looks like. If there are no other innovations we can do to tackle things, then obviously a layer 2 is for sure a solution to that.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure you guys were already thinking about that. I'm pretty sure you were. Just wanted other people to get confirmation that that was already on the table, so that they weren't priced out. Basically,
100%. Yeah, 100%. And all of these questions are great because when you're reading lines of text on a Discord, they may be answered at some point in Gen Chat, and then 2 seconds later, it's way up the feed. So a lot of people miss it. So the fact that those questions are coming up and that we can answer them and that this is recorded does mean exactly that. People can get a bit of a feel for what we're looking at and how we're thinking. So I appreciate the question.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, and guys, just to Matt's point and to everyone's, regarding everyone's questions, I do want to just say that myself and Matt are both, in the way that we operate in just in general, is going to be community driven. So if the community feels a need for something to change, we're going to find a way to change it and find a way to optimize it, right? I mean, we want to play the game. We want everyone else to be able to play the game. We wouldn't have spent so much time and energy, and especially, I mean, Matt, this project has been something that Matt has been developing for months and months and months. So, we wouldn't put the time and effort and energy into the game and its design and complexity if it wasn't something that we truly wanted everyone to be able to play. So we hear the concerns of the community, and when you guys say stuff, it doesn't get ignored. We take the time to address these and make our action plan based off of the community, what they're saying, how things are working, what's not. Because at the end of the day, we all know that in the NFT world, a collection is only as strong as its community. So we want to make sure that the community feels heard and that we continue to address problems, concerns, anything as they come up, so that we're never just kicking a stone down the road and waiting for a problem to come later. If there's something that needs to be addressed, we'd like to address it and move past it and go like that. So yeah, Matt's already said it and already answered that particular question, but just in the way that we handle anything in general will be community oriented and in a way that we're trying to get as many people playing the game as low cost as possible, because that's how we all see the greatest reward is actually within the game. And we need to do, or we will do, whatever we can to maximize that experience for the whole community. So thank you guys for the questions. NLG, I'm going to kick you back to the audience. BC, did you think of your question?
Yeah, I thought about it. So I just wanted to know a little bit more about how we would be basically gambling or just competing for BLD through giveaways or just like actual games or events like poker nights or something like that.
Yeah, so I think it's important to make a distinction between the BLD that exists in the real world and the BLD that exists on the blockchain. So they are two separate currencies. The BLD that we compete for, that we have game nights, that we have giveaways within here, is a separate entity. That BLD can be used similarly in our own marketplace within the Discord server, but it is not, something that is interchangeable with the BLD that exists on the blockchain. So they are two separate things. I would definitely just want to make sure everyone has a clear understanding of that.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for the question. All right, I'm going to bring up the next three people. Steve will code it, Tenet, Sappy Sinatra. I've invited all three, and I'll also bring AP Talks Crypto. So all four of you, feel free to jump up here, and we will get to the next round of questions here.
Hey folks, is Steve will code it here. Question about the announcement that regarding claiming is about $23 per NFT. I want to clarify around what GWEI is that estimate around? Are we talking around when the network congestion is around 40 to 60 GWEI or 80 to 100? I feel like that can help shed some light on deducing how the contracts are working. It might be I hope that Matt can shed light on that.
Full transparency, I can't, purely based on the fact that this was a discussion I was having early this morning with the developers, and it was their terminology in terms of this is what the normal gas should be, and this is what the price we would expect based on that. So I have made a note of your name, Steve will code it, and I'll chat to them in a few hours, and I'll come straight back to you and give you what the estimate was.
Yeah, because I'd like to clarify that, because I think I was reading through the chat and I saw some people claiming for a pretty fair price, and the quote they had from their screenshot was at around 30 GWEI. And here, let me pull it up because I know so many people are listening. I've been using ETH since 2017. I kind of know how gas works, and I feel like there's just a lot of FUD around here. So I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. Because the screenshot that I saw was, I'm like, this is impressive. And I was looking at the contract, and I think what you guys have been working on is really great. And I'm really glad I got to be part of the journey. But you know what? I'll hop back on the stage after I find it. But I believe it was around 30 GWEI, and Steve about it. It was this message. Where's that screenshot? Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm so glad. I think it was Kellogg's. This was around 8:25 p.m. today, and he was mentioning that this was to claim BLD, not too expensive, and that was around when the network fee was GWEI was around $30. 30 GWEI. And if you look at MetaMask, this will tell. All this information is very transparent. If you can watch YouTube videos, learn how MetaMask works. It's very transparent. This is the beauty of Web3. Folks have access to this information if they just spend maybe an hour binging YouTube videos. You'll have access to this publicly free information, and that's very, very impressive for what you folks have been working on. These contracts are very complex. This is a long-term project. I've been feeling there's some negativity in the community, and I feel like what you folks have been working on is really, really good stuff. Assuming, at 30 GWEI, claiming for one FT, claiming your BLD, it was 0.01 ETH, which lines up with the numbers that we were quoted around. It says $36, 23, 36, whatever, when it's not 200. And if you look at, GWEI charts on just search gas tools online, around 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. EST, it hovers around 40 to 50. I mint around that time. I wake up and all that. So anyways, I'm rambling. If you could get back to me on that, that would be great. I think there's some really exciting stuff here. So I'm here for the long-term journey.
Appreciate that. I appreciate the words. We'll definitely come back to it, and I think what will be important then is when we roll out that content around what a transaction should cost and the different types of transactions in the game, Maybe we'll put like a little mini chart in there which talk about the different grey levels relating to what the estimation would be. And again, then that can provide people with the information to make informed decisions around when they should be doing certain actions. We don't control everything around the blockchain. Obviously, all we can control is what we can control. So I appreciate your comment there, and I'll definitely come back to you, and we'll also probably include that as a chart.
Awesome, great, appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Steve. We appreciate it, and thanks for sharing your expertise on the area. And we will, or I say we, Matt will be reaching back out to you after he speaks with the developers. If you guys haven't figured it out yet, Matt is the technical mastermind behind this. So I have a good understanding of things, but certainly nowhere near the degree that Matt does, and our developers are even on another level beyond that. So there's definitely more that Matt will come back to you with, Steve, later tonight or wherever you are in the world. It's night for me, midday for Matt, morning for someone's. Thank you for
9:30 night for me.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. All right, Sappy Sinatra, how's it going, my friend?
It's going great, man. Thanks for having me up, guys. Really appreciate it. I just found out about this project, so I think you guys gave like 100 whitelist spots out to crypto monks, and that's one of my like primary communities that I'm a part of. And I didn't really know a lot about the project. I just trust the leadership of the crypto monks to kind of go along with their alpha calls. And I can't say that I'm disappointed to this point. I'm actually very pleased with a lot of the alpha, just the actual design of the game. Like you guys have put a tremendous amount of thought into how this ecosystem should work. And it's very obvious. I've participated in a lot of the AMAs, and Matt, especially, like you just alluded to, Parker. I can tell you've spent hours and hours and hours developing this game, and so kudos to you guys for really bringing a product that's innovative and conceptually sound to the space. And I just want to start off by saying that because I do have some questions, but I am impressed up to this point. So glad to be here, and thanks for having me up. But I guess one thing I sort of, before I get into my questions, is I need to understand and make sure that I'm actually informed on the token itself. So the ERC20 protocol token of BLD, that is a true utility token and is not currently backed by liquidity. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So that's great, because a lot of the time, what you see with many of these concepts is whales come in, soak up all the liquidity, destroy the entire ecosystem for the token, and then leave everybody holding a bag at the end of the day. So I mean, it's very good that you guys have identified that as a problem and avoided that as a potential pitfall of the overall interaction with your user base. But I'm curious, when it comes to, like, and I mean, I just look at it from the space as a greater whole, right? Whales are whales. There's not much you can do about that, right? There's certain people that have the advantage of being early to the party, like your MetaPass holders that maybe have 1 or 2 MetaPasses when they were very cheap, and they're going to get like this huge influx of blood and have a jump start on the ecosystem from everybody else. But then you've also got people that just have more ETH to spend, right? More ETH to spend on elites, more ETH to spend on super rares, more ETH to just plow into the ecosystem. And as a result of that, they're going to capitalize on the Gen 1 mints, the Treehouse mints, the token generator mints, all these elements of the game that are, it seems like to me, very essential in terms of your long-term success. And I'm just curious, like, how do you see that playing out, beyond just this first very initial wave where obviously there's some bug fixes that you guys are doing and your devs are kind of tweaking things, but in terms of the greater health of this game long term, there hasn't really been a P2E game up to this point in this space that has been successful, and I'm rooting for this game. But I'm curious, how do you plan on addressing some of those pitfalls that other games have been, for lack of a better way of saying it, destroyed by? And I went a lot of different places there, so I'm sorry, but I am curious to hear what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the question. So I think the most important thing for something to have some longevity is, firstly, you need to have thought about that at the beginning, right? So you need to have thought, okay, so how can we continually re-engage a community? How can we continually re-engage or bring in new eyes to a community? And then that's the first thing you have to tackle. So, we've talked about these before. We've got our Tree Market, which is our marketplace, which is going to provide utility to our BLD token for things in the game and things outside of the game as well. So that Tree Market in its own right gives us so many opportunities to do different things that will enable us to manage the ecosystem. Then we've got the faction wars. And the faction wars are purely for those that hold bears, right? So then, if you are someone who only aped into token generators or tree houses, for example, you can't participate in that. So, we had to think about what long-term things we can apply to the ecosystem or to the game to enable us to pull levers and implement different things in the future to enable us to react and adapt and so forth. So that was the sort of first wave of thinking. The next one, to me, is about when you try to create a game, the reason why some games may or may not make it, and I'm sure those that aren't making it, endeavor to make it still, and we'll implement changes. But, if you force people down a single path, if you make that journey incredibly clear to everyone, then it becomes very, very easy for, whales to jump in, determine which is the right path, because all of the content and all the communication has basically led them to that decision. And then to, like you say, maybe pull all of the value out of the community or the ecosystem and leave everyone holding the bag. So we created a lot of optionality. So we created training, and we created the battlefield, and we created the treehouse, and we created different types of tokens with different supply levels. Some we expect to be really accessible for a long time. And if they're really accessible, that means that we'll have the opportunity to bring in a lot of eyes and a lot of people to the project that, if you see a huge pump within the first 2 weeks, maybe you get up to 4 or 5 ETH on the floor, all of a sudden you're ruling out so many people that would like to jump into their first play to so optionality was really important for us, and that allows people to look at the ecosystem and look at the mechanics and try to determine which is the right way forward. As like Parker's first answer earlier on, we can't really guide you with that, because I think a really strong essence of a game is to lay out a theory and allow the game to play itself out. We have some assumptions with what will happen. If those assumptions don't, play out as we expect, then we'll have to adapt. And we'll have to make changes, or we'll have to do certain things. But, it's difficult to know how they're playing out within only 4 hours. So it's probably a long-winded way to answer your question. I hope I've answered it.
It was a long-winded question. So I think it's great, man. We're in a space right now where there isn't a proven way forward. There's no commodity that's guaranteed, and the fact that you guys are taking this level of thought and understanding into the process really instills a lot of faith in me as a holder, because I'll be honest with you, I like I said, I found out about this 12 hours before the mint happened, and I just happened to get whitelisted because I am an active community member of one of my alpha groups, and I just trust their judgment. And I'm lucky enough that I minted 3 bears and 2 of them were elites, right? So like I had this really tough situation where I'm weighing, do I capitalize on, an over 10x short-term gain and just kind of monitor this thing from a distance for a period of time and see if I get back in when the floor drops, or, listen to these AMAs, hear you guys as, intellectual fellows that are obviously very passionate about this and have truly the best interest of the community at heart, and really are trying to create an ecosystem that can stand the test of time. That's what has made me not sell, and has made me stake my bears, and has me very interested to see what's in store for the future. So really appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me up, and I'll cede the floor.
Thank you. I appreciate your questions.
Thank you a bunch, Sappy Sinatra. All right, Tenet.
Yeah, hey there.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey there, boss. I'm doing good. I just have one main question that I've been trying to look for, and I was reading through the white papers, and I was asking the mods all day, and they couldn't really find it. This has to concern with the faction bank, nothing to do with the gas. Don't worry. But when your bears are staked in the battlefield, right? So all the blood is in the faction bank, and I'm not clear on if you claim it, is there 50% chance of all of it being gone or stolen, or the 50% chance of 50% of your blood being taken?
Got it. I'll answer this. So right now, to talk to the faction bank, so the faction bank currently accumulates all of your numbers into one sum. So that's why there may well be some 2 sums, I guess. You've got the claimable amount, and then you've got what's actually in your in-game wallet. And then there'll be a third balance, which is whatever's in your ERC20 if we've drawn any. So we are breaking that up to be more granular, so you'll actually be able to see yield per location, for example. But to answer your question, so if you have 100,000 BLD sitting in your in-game wallet in the faction bank, and then you go to the battlefield, you yield, 10k, for example, BLD. You stake a Gen 0 for 2 days. If you then withdraw that 10k BLD from the battlefield, or you unstake your bear, it's only the 10k that is at risk. So it's only the yielded BLD that, or the BLD that you've been yielding for that period of time, that is exposed to risk. Anything that you've already claimed or that is already in your wallet has no risk attached to it. It's only what you're yielding at that moment in time.
Okay, right. So I'm looking at the faction bank, and it's not like I'm gonna claim and unstake at the same time. So it'll still be in the battlefield, but so I'm just gonna claim to the in-game wallet with the current balance. So like my in-game balance yielding right now, let's just say it's 100 blood. Are those at risk?
Yep. So whenever you're claiming your yield, that's what's at risk to different degrees depending on where you've staked your NFTs. So this is why we're going to break it up to the different models, so you can see what you're yielding battle, what you're yielding in the barracks when you're training, and what you're yielding at home, because there's different levels of risk per location. So where there's an element of confusion is just that we're lumping all of this into one single number that sits in the faction bank, and that's your claimable BLD. It's only ever the yielded and thus called claimable BLD that is exposed to the different degrees of risk depending on where you've staked your bears. So over the next couple of days, that interface will adapt and you'll be able to see your yield per location. And then we'll also provide content on those modals to show you what the risk is per location as well. So it'll be a lot clearer as you play and as you make decisions.
Right. Okay. Well, that's my question. Right. And we'll see some more information in the next few days. Perfect.
100%. No worries.
Thank you, man. Great question. All right, AP Talks Crypto. How's it going?
Good. How are you guys? How are you guys?
I'm great, thank you.
All right. So I just had a couple questions. My first question is I think the burning, like, what are your future burning mechanics for the project?
Yeah, so I can start on that, and then Matt can touch more in depth. But we'll actually have every transaction within the game that uses BLD will um, have a burn attached to it. So essentially, every game mechanic that requires the movement or spending or whatever of BLD will require a burn, or a burn will happen because of it. Furthermore, there is a large tax on withdrawing BLD outside of the ecosystem, which that incurs a burn as well. Um, the burn mechanics are essentially built into every aspect of the game so that there's no need for singular, like, large burning events, and that the supply is currently or is constantly being burned up throughout each player's actions within the game.
Got it. But like I'm talking about like you guys have like the tree houses and the token generators. Like as in terms of those, I feel like those are gonna probably last like probably maybe less than a week. So what should everyone do after those are minted out? And our tokens and our bears and our tree houses are generating. What should we do with our BLD?
So to talk to obviously what Parker just mentioned there. So when those are purchased, there is a heavy burn on that just to start that out. So I imagine the spending of BLD, if we're purely talking about what you can see on the website right now with the different collections. So that may take 2 or 3 weeks, depending on sort of where people's interest lies. The token generators will probably go first, as you were alluding to there, but followed by tree houses and followed by the Gen 1 bears. Beyond that, if you're looking at our roadmap, we'll start to introduce, at the very least, the phase 1 of the tree market, and then you'll only be able to participate in the tree market if your bears are staked, and also if you have the necessary BLD to spend. So that'll be on in-game items. That'll also be on external to the game items. So we have a number of NFTs which we've already acquired that will go into the treehouse from other great projects that you'll use BLD to buy those, and then there'll be a heavy burn. I think it's 70% burn on anything that's spent. Beyond that, you've then got all the other locations that are opening at a phased rate. The first one would allow for re-roll of Gen 1s. You can re-roll a Gen 1 and try and get yourself an elite. There'll probably be some combined mechanisms. So again, for the re-roll, for the combined mechanisms, you'll be spending BLD. That BLD then gets burnt. Whenever there's a tax event, you withdraw that tax goes into our main wallet. It'll be redistributed or it will be burnt. So we're acutely aware of the need to manage the supply that's being created. So we've got, at the very least, the first sort of 2 quarters of activities already sort of mapped out in the roadmap and in our 10-week plan, which will cause a lot of burning and a lot of utilization of BLD. Another one we haven't mentioned is obviously the whitelist marketplace, which we've spoken about for quite a long time. So lots coming. We're acutely aware that we need to be providing reasons to utilize and for the utility token to have value, and we'll continue to do that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. That was great. I was gonna mention it to you guys. The whitelist marketplace. If we could create something like that, I feel like that would just give the project a whole different utility besides our own like projects incorporated with us. It would just give us a whole different type of utility to outside projects where maybe people want to come in, try to get yield, try to get blood. To get other projects.
100%. And the only real delay on that right now we've got, if I'm staring at it, Parker probably has some more than what I'm looking at, but I'm staring at 13 or 14 options that we've got right now that could go straight into the whitelist marketplace. It's for us, it's about automating the process as much as possible. So instead of, I don't know, like a manual process where you have to send some BLD, or we or something like that. We want it to be automated, so when you acquire your whitelist with your BLD, we automatically take your wallet address, and then we can just send that to projects, or even give them access to it per whitelist in the back end. So there's a little bit we're doing in terms of the delivery of the whitelist marketplace as well as the tree market in general, to make sure that we automate a lot of it as much as possible within our app.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. That sounds amazing.
No worries, man.
Yeah, thanks for the question, AP Talks Crypto. I'm gonna bring up the next 5 people: Coach Carver, Rad Hatter, Winters Fox, Fatty Boobaddy, and Lindy. We'll bring you. Oh, wait. There we go. All right, I've invited you all up. Go ahead and feel free to join us up on the stage. We'll start with Coach Carver. What's up, Coach? How you doing?
Hey, doing good, brother. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey. First of all, shout out to you and Matt, man. I mean, what an absolute honor to be able to even just be up here. I mean, this has been a great journey. Been along the ride for the Meta Pass, now the Gen Zeros, and going into launching 6 contracts in one day. You guys are savages. So first of all, before we even jump into any questions, I want to give it back to you guys and the entire mod staff, Mikey, FICO, everybody, that's holding it down. Shout out to all you guys.
Thank you, Coach. That's means a lot. And I also want to echo that shout out to our amazing staff, Matt and everyone else that's involved on the back end, in the forward facing. Just huge shout out to everyone that's making this project go round. And shout out to you, Coach, and everyone else in this community that is giving us a reason to, launch a project like this. If we don't have a community, we have nothing. So shout out to you all. And Coach, I'll give it back to you for whatever questions you might have.
Appreciate that, brother. So real quick, one of the things I want to ask you guys too, as far as like something that we might be able to see when you go into the treehouse menu, is there a way that we can have it show what items are in which treehouse?
That is exactly what we're developing at the moment.
Okay, perfect.
So you've nailed it. Yeah, we're going to have a far more. The treehouse was the more complex in terms of its interactivity and UI, and we're developing it in a way now where you'll see per treehouse how many spaces it has in terms of empty squares, if you will, and then which tokens are staked within each treehouse, and then you can unstake them one by one. You can add them to each individual treehouse. So it may be ready with 24 hours. Worst case, I guess, if I'm not being too optimistic, maybe 48. But yeah, that's the direction we're heading.
I'm fine with either, bro. That's amazing. So I appreciate that you guys are already working on that. And then from the announcement earlier, it looks like you guys are already going to be updating the metadata on OpenSea for the tree houses to show whether it's a size 1, size 2, size 3. Are you guys going to be updating the metadata as well on the bears to show their levels?
Yeah, all of that's taking place there for OpenSea with things like filters. I'm obviously not as much of an expert as our developers, but the response is basically that takes a lot longer for OpenSea. But it'll be this week. Both are being updated. Okay. You can check levels on tree houses currently. I put it in the Play to Earn updates channel. There's a quick way that in Etherscan that you can actually check the levels if you wanted to do that until they're ready on OpenSea.
Okay. And did you guys already plan on dropping like a pretty in-depth video tutorial, or is that something that you guys would like some help on?
It is. We haven't decided on, I guess, how we will do that, but a video on different parts of the game as well as I guess a short sort of sub 2-minute general overview are all a part of this plan to execute this week.
Okay.
Yeah, Coach. Maybe I'll sync up with you because I know that's an area of expertise for you. And
some pretty good ideas.
Yeah, and we can do some type of video walkthrough, take a little bit of that burden off of Matt as well. So I'll reach back out to you tonight after the AMA, and we can work something out in terms of kind of a video walkthrough in a more in depth, and then also just a basic overview of what is each area when you're actually looking at it interactively. How do I stake? How do I do this, that, and the next? So yeah, thanks. I'll reach out to you as soon as we're done here.
Heck yeah. And then just last thing, shout out to the community for showing up. And honestly, it's been amazing to see this thing really grow. You know, this hasn't been a project that paid for a bunch of promotions like this. This was built by the muscle from each and every one of you guys. Like it's been amazing to see, you know, how strong this community is. It's nice to see everybody, you know, helping combat all the FUD and all the BS in the chats. Like this is a no nonsense, no tolerance, you know, like these developers, these leaders here, you know, they put so much time into this, and you know, as you guys can see now, their passion and just how knowledgeable they are. Like they truly want the best for this project, and that's why I personally am heavily invested in this. I'm bullish as fuck on this project. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate all you guys, and I'm gonna go ahead and step down.
Cheers, Coach. Thanks, man. We appreciate that a lot. All right. I believe Winters Fox, you were up here next. How's it going, my friend?
It goes. How's it going for you?
Going well, thank you.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask you guys, just some like general questions for y'all's like leadership style. So like if y'all had the option of giving some people some more disappointing news versus trying to give them a rush product, what would you guys feel like you would like doing?
Always would take the primary or the former of those two. Um, if you've been around, you've seen it. We have had delays. We have had things that have come and not been the most flashy to the eye, but the 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 priority that we've always held is delivering the highest quality product and making sure that the community is taken care of in the long term, even if it's a sacrifice on the short term. And you know what is sexy or what looks great or sounds great to the ear, it is, if it's not sustainable, we don't want any part of it.
Gotcha. Yeah. And like, I really appreciate that as like a community member. And like I actually want to call out some of the communities that I see. Like I got this from monks. I actually sold my rug burn to be able to participate in this more. I didn't want to do that, but I'm bullish on this project. And like I feel like if everyone here, just realizes that FUD is a good thing. Because like for some people, they have different reasons as to why they might be FUDing. Like I know that there was a lot around the mint time, but like that allows people to get back in at cheaper prices, especially like smaller players like me in the space. I've been here for 2 months now, and this is like probably the first opportunity that I see that I could actually, really make some money here. Um, so I just wanted to ask you guys that, and I really appreciate it because like I've been in a lot of projects recently, and they just go ghost at some of the most important times, and it just makes you feel like that your investment is going to waste or like it just makes you more afraid. But like it's relieving to hear that you guys would rather put out a good project or product and it be fully ironed out than just like yellowing something out and expecting the community just to like pick up the pieces. So
Yeah, no, I think that's, you said it perfectly there. And there's, this is not to say that our journey for over the last 4 days or whatever it's been has been glamorous for all of it. There's been delays, there's been some things that haven't gone exactly as planned, but I will assure you that one, we will show up. We'll be here every single day in the server, available to answer questions. And again, cannot give a big enough shout out to our community leadership and moderator team for literally always being here and being available and doing the absolute best that they can to serve the community. So huge shout out to them. And then myself and Matt are always accessible. Matt sometimes gets buried within the contracts and things like that, but he's here every single day, and we will be around no matter what, the good times and the bad times. So we're here for the long term. We want to build this, not only this game, but this community to heights that, we haven't seen in this industry. And there's a reason why we didn't just put out another staking game that has already been done, another Wolf game fork that will pump up to 1 ETH and then disappear forever in 3 months. We've built this infrastructure to last. And although right now we're going to have some hiccups, it's only because we're trying to actually build something that will be unique and that will actually withstand the test of time. So yeah, we appreciate that feedback, and we hope that, things like this will shed a peace of mind across everyone, because I actually had a friend that reached out to me today and told me the exact same thing you just said. He said, thank God for all the fun, because I was just able to go and sweep up like 8 bears for under 1 ETH in total, and scooped up a bunch. He's like, I got some rare ones, I got some this, that, and the next was telling me all about it. He's like, people just don't see the long-term vision. Like they don't understand that a delay is not a bad thing if it's a delay to actually fix or optimize or upgrade things. So, you know, kudos to you for being able to see that. And Matt and I harbor no ill will towards anyone that exits this project at any time. If you need liquidity, if you need to get out, if you don't see the vision, if you're not interested in the long term, if you just want to, if flipping is what you were here for, like, there's a place for every person in the NFT world, but we are building this game around the people that will be here for the long term. So if
Yeah.
that's you, just know you're at the forefront of our mind. And if that's not you and that's not where your interest lies, then we don't wish anything ill upon you, but we won't be building the infrastructure around those people. We will be building it around the people that want to be here and play the game and do the long term. So thank you for those words.
Yep. And one more thing, I would just like to implore you guys, if there is FUD, and like you guys have already shown me that you guys do this, but like, instead of us as a group, like vulturing onto them and attacking people as to why they might have concerns, figure out why they have concerns. Cause like, again, like my concerns was I was just a small player and I had to trade NFTs that I didn't want to trade, but like, I had to part with them eventually. So, and that's just me, learning in the space. So thanks guys.
Yeah, I thank you, man. That's excellent, and I think that's a good point for all the community as well. We really love and appreciate everyone that supports us and defends the project from FUD and things like that. But honestly, the best way to combat someone coming in with negativity is to kill them with kindness, and the best way to combat someone coming in with negativity created by confusion is just to offer them clarity. So that's what we want to try and do. Once again, we harbor no ill will towards anyone leaving the project at any point for any price for any reason. So, this, at the end of the day, it's an investment. I mean, and however you think is best for you to invest within this space and within the project, we wish only the best for everyone that's ever touched a bloodshed bear. We want every single person that's ever played this game or been involved to make a profit, be happy with their investment, and be done when they want to be done. So Matt and I are very keen on executing to the long term, and those that want to be here for it, we're thrilled to have you. And those that don't, we wish you all the best regardless. So Fatty Boo Batty, what's up, my friend? How are you?
Great. How we doing, beautiful people?
I'm amazing, thank you.
Great. I got a couple questions, couple points. I'm going to try to make it quick. First off, just like everybody else, I want to give a shout out to the team. A lot of feisty people in the Discord yesterday. They handled it well. The community handled it well. I want to give a huge shout out to Mikey. I had a lot of technical difficulties trying to stake for the last 12 plus hours. I was unable to. He stepped up today, spent probably 4 hours with me one-on-one until I was able to stake. The gas was nuts, so I wasn't able to still. So I'm still not staked. So that's where my question's leading to. I have 3 tree houses, 4 generators, 5 Gen 0 bears, 2 Gen 1s. You guys are talking about fixing and looking at the claimable, when you claim the blood, the gas on that. Is that the only gas that's getting looked at, or is the actual staking gas getting looked at? So before the AMA, for me to do 2 generators, 1 treehouse, it was like $550. This is my first play to earn game, as well as I'm sure it's a lot of other people's. So I don't know if we accounted for that. Now, is that getting looked at, or is it just going to be the way it is? Gas is what it is, and it's going to cost a little bit to play this game.
So
that's my first question.
Got it. I'll jump into that one. So I guess there's an element where of both, if you will. So a lot of it does come back to the misestimation. Now we have seen, and I've seen screenshots where the estimate is one thing and the actual gas paid is another. But the reality is that's pretty scary for a lot of people if the estimate is high, because you don't necessarily know if that's actually going to be the gas you pay or not. And we obviously can't guarantee the difference between the two. So in short, are we looking at gas across all transactions? Absolutely. It's not a solo item, but we're tackling the ones that we can get to first, the ones that we already know the problem with and that we can solve. And so we're sort of tackling those first. In terms of is gas just what it is? To a certain extent, it is, right? We don't have complete control. It is known that the first stake is the most expensive, simply because that's when we apply a lot of logic. So it is more expensive to do that first stake. I believe this morning, I don't know what was happening, but there's a lot of congestion. The gas was really high. So there is also reality that sometimes you have to pick the best moment to stake to reduce your gas cost. But we are looking at it. We're looking at every transaction. And as part of the information that we provide around what a transaction fee should be, you'll be able to look at that when we publish that and make a decision based on, okay, so right now the network's quite high. This is costing me or going to cost me more than it should, so I'm just going to wait. And then it just makes making decisions a lot easier for you. So,
and I have no problem doing that, the waiting part. Like I said, and a lot of people know that I'm trying to put my foot in the door and be in the Web3 and the NFT community and make this a full-time job. I have no problem. When I did the 2.0 coalition crew, I sat here for 7 hours waiting for gas to be in my budget. So I'm not worried about that. My main question is how much am I going to spend over 6 months? Can I just stake some generators and not claim it for 6 months? Because the $23 times 10 NFTs, every couple of days is just not going to cut it for me. So
yeah, of course, and
I have no problem with that. If that's just something that's like I said, it's my first play to earn. So if that's just something that it's going to be, and I can't participate right now, then that's I don't participate right now. Does it mean I'm going to sell all my shit and move on? And no, because everything that Parker touches turns to gold. So I'd be dumb to do that. But that's my question: is do I wait, or do I find $1,300 worth and just make sure I get this shit staked, or should I just wait a couple days? And
so, I guess, like I mentioned at the beginning, there is some optionality. I mean, to answer the like you stake and then claim every couple of days, I think that comes down to where the value lies. I mean, at some point in the future, maybe it makes sense to claim every couple of days. It depends on obviously where the value sits in the overall ecosystem, right? I mean, there may be a legitimate reason to do that. Right now, I would say the best strategy is not to claim repeatedly. It's to, when the gas is at a manageable level, and obviously we're looking at a few things from our perspective in terms of the front end, but when it's at a manageable level, get your items staked so you can start yielding, and then wait for those moments that it makes sense to claim. I would say in the short term, it doesn't make too much sense necessarily to go and claim every 2 days, but there may be a time in the future where that does make sense. And so that's where participation plays a role.
So the best thing would be to find a way to get my generators and my couple bears staked right now, and then worry about claiming them later.
I would say so. I'd monitor gas, maybe look at the charts and see when it tends to be lowest for your time zone, and have a look at it at that point while we're working on things in the background ourselves.
Okay, can I borrow about $1,000? Okay, now I have one more question.
I'm going to defer that one to Parker.
I
already got a tab with Parker.
I'm the fact more bank, everyone. No.
I got one more question. So you said the NFT treehouse marketplace or whatever, where you can buy the NFTs. Did I hear that right? Do you have to have a bear staked to be able to purchase something from there?
So The question that we're toying with at the moment is, do you need to have staked items to be able to participate in the treehouse? Do you need to have staked items to be able to participate in certain items within the treehouse, or is holding any one of our collections going to be sufficient? So it's undecided yet. We're looking at all of those options. The decision will ultimately be based on the general consensus of how we best value the participants in the ecosystem, rather than necessarily, a portion that may just buy in to quickly grab something and then leave the ecosystem. So we're always focused on trying to find the best way to reward participants. So we've got to look at what that looks like.
Well, I was just curious because, like I said, my main concern right now is trying to get the generators and the tree houses and my metapad staked. Obviously, those earn you a little bit more. But if I didn't have a bear and I was just, waiting 6 months to claim my stuff, and then I claimed 1 million BLD or whatever, and then I had some NFTs that I could possibly buy, that was my curiosity.
Yeah, look, we're taking into account everything. It's for us, the decisions are always, how do we provide most value to those members of the community, members of the project that participate, and they're who we focus the main core decisions around. Because as Parker mentioned earlier, we need to drive decisions based on value and value for the community as a whole. So that's where the decisions will lie. We don't have an answer yet, but I would suspect that you wouldn't be ruled out for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. Thanks. Keep doing what you're doing. I know you guys are working hard, and I don't provide much value like Coach does, but I'm here too if you guys need anything. You guys have a wonderful night.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Fatty. We appreciate it a lot. Lindy, how's it going?
Hey, is there a chance I could just?
He's working.
Yeah, I'm actually at work right now. I've been checking my phone.
Oh yeah, Red Hatter. What's up, my friend?
Hey, how's it going, you guys?
Great.
I just wanted to just add a couple notes. We have a pretty solid community that's been rallying together around BloodShed Bears in the last few days since the game has gone live. And for anybody that's in this community that has any questions or just wants to understand the strategy and just kind of plug into this ecosystem, we're making a concerted effort to spend more time in the voice channel. And so, and we've had some amazing VC sessions over the past couple nights. And this is like Matt and Parker are alluding to, is that, the people that are going to be rewarded and the people that are going to basically make it in terms of this ecosystem are the ones that are going to be plugged in and understand all the nuances and strategies. And, and there's so much like chock full, multi-dimensional approach to this game. And so, and the cool thing is with all the complexity, like it really does leave a lot of room for all players. It doesn't matter how many bears you have, how many generators or tree houses. Proportionally speaking, in terms of like how much you guys are putting in is what you're going to proportionally get out of it. And one of the things that I just want to touch on is that a lot of times I think people come into like these games with a competitive mindset, and that's really not the way that you want to approach like a P2E game. Like we really, as a community, want to band together, teach each other the ins and outs of how the game works. And it's similar to, I used this analogy before in the VC, is that it's similar to like an alpha group. The vibes and the energy is that like if you're in an alpha group, like it's all about the community working together, so we all support each other and we all eat together essentially as a community. And so just wanted to throw that out there. I want to apologize because I was actually busy with work and a couple things when the game went live, and so I wasn't available. But moving forward, yeah, we have so many amazing people in this community. Just shout out to like, Pandemonium. We got Indigenuity. We got Helen. Definitely Mikey. Also, really appreciate you being in the VCs with us. Lindy as well. And Last Action Hero. We got a bunch of people. So come hang out with us, you guys. This AMA, these guys are legit. They're serious. We have a lot of guys that have played P2E games. And I think that's kind of one of the things that it's hard for the team to just like communicate that sometimes because they're obviously really busy building. But I think it's up to the community also to kind of just be the if you will, like the the messenger, if you will, and just kind of explain to you guys. You guys are in really good hands in terms of how these games are structured. And I understand like a big part of the FUD was around the gas and the transaction fees. But I mean, to be honest, like once you realize that those gas fees proportionately, especially if you play the game with strategy, and we'll discuss all of the best ways to maximize your investments, it's nothing. I'm telling you guys, the fees might seem like a lot, but in terms of what you guys are going to get back, especially if we work as a community, which it's already bubbling together and meshing together, it will all be laughing at all these little hiccups. And so just wanted to add my piece. I'm like at work right now. I just kept checking on my phone to make sure that I don't miss the AMA, because last couple of ones I was at work and I was trying to just share my piece and kind of rally the troops and just let everybody know. But yeah, we're going to be vibing in the VC. We got a lot of different communities that are very experienced in NFT space, been around for a while, and we've seen a lot of things. And this is what makes us incredibly bullish. And you know, the smart players are the ones that are going to make it, and that's a given across all markets. You know, like the people that don't know what's going on, the people that are not willing to invest a little bit of time to figure out what's going on, the people that are emotionally trading. Those are the people that are unfortunately that get wrecked. And so for me personally, just beyond this ecosystem of BloodShed Bears, it's been my mission to be more education focused, because ultimately, like, there's a different reason that I'm in the NFT space. Like, I really want to shift energy away from like the old way of doing business, big business, like VCs and all that stuff, constantly just sucking money out of everyday people like us. And so really the number one way that we can fight against, not only the microcosm of this community, but also the greater macrocosm of what's happening globally, is to work together. And so really appreciate you guys. Awesome work. And again, if you guys have any issues, raise a ticket in the Discord. That's one of the things that I've also been trying to share, is that, we don't, one of the things that a lot of emotional and inexperienced investors will do is they'll come in, they have an issue, and they'll just start fudding the project, and they don't realize that they're fudding their own bags for no reason. Like, this team is very responsive, and whatever concerns that you have will be addressed. And so, and I can speak from experience. Like, I had some of my own questions, and I brought it up, and it was answered immediately. We had a couple other people, very prominent people in the space, ask some questions. I forwarded those questions to Matt. They were answered to a T, and these guys were absolutely impressed by the transparency and the dedication, and really the speed at which they're taking this feedback and responding. So super bullish. I don't know if you guys can tell, but yeah, just wanted to share that piece. And yeah, love you guys. My DMs are open if you guys have any questions. And again, we'll be vibing in the VC quite frequently. So if you guys have any questions on strategy and good stuff like that, feel free to join us, and we're going to help you out.
Thank you so much, Rad. We don't deserve the quality of community members we have in here, so we appreciate you guys so much. And yeah, guys, I would definitely say Rad hit the nail on the head there. You win in this ecosystem and in play to earn in general by collaborative effort and collaborative thinking. You're not competing with anyone, so it's a blessing, honestly, to have people with so much experience as we do in this project, and take advantage of it, especially if you're newer. So thank you, Rad.
Absolutely. And actually, to just kind of extend on that real quick, is definitely, take advantage of the community. We're all here to help each other in the space. And so, we want to on-ramp new people. We want to teach people how to be successful, because ultimately it's the new people that are coming in that's going to sustain the game. And it's a no-brainer for me personally. So yeah, don't be shy. And yeah, love you guys. I got a jet, but I'll see you in the VC.
Thanks, Rad. We appreciate you so much. Lindy, how's it going?
Good. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves too. Hope you're not working yourselves. I hope you're getting some rest.
Yeah, I've been resting more than Matt has, that's for sure. But
I know. I worry Matt's working too hard.
I worry the same thing. Trust me. He's between him and the developers, I don't know if they catch double-digit hours of sleep a night, and there's 3 of them, so it's not a great thing.
So, what I was in the VC earlier too with Rad, and I just want to kind of reiterate quickly what he said there and encourage people. Like, I'll spend a bit of time in there afterwards if people have questions or anything. I actually even found it really helpful earlier. It's my day off today, so I was able to kind of sit around there, which was great. Because hearing different questions already help you learn the game and figure out the system. So just want to encourage, and hearing a voice is very different than reading a text. And so I think the voice chat's going to be really helpful for us going forward to help us all win. So just want to encourage everyone there. So through that, I'm going to try and fire a bunch of quick questions to you guys that were coming up there that I think would be beneficial to the whole community. Some of them are questions I hold dear. Some of them were just other ones. One of them, and it kind of attaches to something Matt was talking about earlier around the claiming of tokens, right? Because I don't think people understand it. So let's say I had 10 bears staked and I wanted to claim 100K in BLD. I'm not, while there's a risk to each bear losing their BLD, it's calculated differently for each bear. Like if I claim the 100K, maybe I'm wrong here. I'm hoping I don't think I am though. If I claim 100K BLD, I might lose only 10K from a couple bears losing their BLD. The rest will take it back and they will be able to use that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, great. So I think that's important. So yeah, because I think people are fearing that if I claim, it's an all or nothing claim, and it's not. So I think I think that will really help people chill a bit when it comes to claiming. So when it comes to leveling up the bears, is that going to require an action on our part to actually level them up, or are they automatically being leveled up?
No, it's the same. Essentially, how we manage it is there's in-game balances that we move around. Otherwise, the transaction would be exponentially more expensive. So you have to claim your yielded level and you claim your yielded BLD, essentially.
Cool. Okay. So when we claim BLD, if we did the whole thing, anybody who's being leveled up, they'll get leveled up.
No, so they're two separate transactions.
Okay.
So
okay,
yeah. But if you, for example, if you unstake, for example, so this is another thing that can be tested in theory. If you unstake, then it automatically does it for that specific bear that you've unstaked for both the level and also the BLD.
Yeah, I unstaked a couple of token generators last night just to test that out, and it was also I think I got 2 unstaked, and it cost me 0.01 unstake both, really cheap. So that's great. With that, so then like a normal bear, a level 1 bear for Gen 0, Gen 1, as they're leveling up, that then include do they get multipliers? Because some people are confused because it doesn't have the multiplier description there because they're level 1. Is that because that's where they're starting off? Or as they level up, will they gain that multiplier? So if they become level 5, it'll be a 1.05 multiplier.
Correct. So as you level up, you are increasing. As you level up, and to be clear, once you've claimed that level, so you may stake in the training, in the barracks, for example, and you may train, you get 1 level per day there. You may wait for 20 days before you apply that level, but as soon as you do, you then get the yield multiplier and the risk reduction that's associated with that level.
Great. And going with that, like, so then with the kind of big claims we're trying to do right now or whatever, and I know people are nervous about the gas, and I agree with Rad. It's like, if you start doing the calculations, you see how other things are selling within the ecosystem. It's, folks, BLD is worth a lot of money right now, actually, and the gas costs are negligible in comparison, so just keep that in mind. But like, if I wanted to claim today, or if I wanted to claim a week from now, would the transaction cost be the same?
Yeah, so it's per NFT, so it's not anything to do with how much you're claiming. So that's why sometimes it makes sense to just wait, because then all of a sudden you're claiming 1 million BLD and it's the same transaction value.
Right, and so then you're reducing if you're paying, let's say you're paying, I don't know, 0.3 gas for 400,000 K. If you wait another week and it's 800,000 K, you're still paying 0.3, so your overall cost is less.
Correct. So you're rewarded through participation.
And then I think that's good for people to hear, because that actually adds to strategy, right? There may be strategy to risk paying a lot of gas, claim quickly for a variety of reasons, and there may be reasons for holding longer.
Right, and that absolutely, and that it comes down to a lot of the things that get rolled out. I mean, let's say, for example, we have a big faction war and there's a high ticket entry. That return on that may make sense to all of a sudden claim your BLD and use that to buy that high ticket, for example. So it's all strategy based, and as I sort of have alluded a couple of times, we don't really want to pave the path for everyone. It's down to how you want to best use your BLD, when you want to claim, why you want to claim. Do you want to stake in the treehouse because it's safer? It's really, we wanted to create a scenario that is a bit of a level playing field, and it comes down to strategy to a certain extent.
Great. I think I know a lot of people have questions on meta passes, but maybe we may. But I think I don't know. I want to kind of give you the platform because, I think you got one of the things that made me even more bullish this week was when you guys released your 10-week plan. And again, for the community, I don't. I'm going to get on my soapbox for 10 seconds here. I don't think people realize how blessed we are to have these guys as our leaders in this community. We don't realize how rare it is for people to communicate this clearly, to give a clear vision, to give clear steps, and it's. I've actually never encountered anything like this, and I've been through a few projects, so I think it'd be good for the community to hear, so that it can kind of quote unquote pump all our bags in a way. Because you released that roadmap this week on the. I don't know if you guys are planning to talk about that 10-week plan. Do you want to talk about that a bit more?
I think the goal was to, but obviously what's been most important in this AMA was to answer questions, and the roadmap is for everyone to see. It's the execution plan is for everyone to see. It's in the roadmap channel. We probably, we're sort of coming up to 1 hour and a half now, so we may be a bit too far into the AMA to dive into that. But to sort of high level it, the reason why we brought that out is essentially what I've experienced in projects is you buy into something, they've got, a bunch of words on the webpage that iterate what the roadmap looks like. So this is the first quarter, this is the second quarter, third quarter, or phases, or whatever it is. You buy into the project and then things get really quiet. That's not to say that the team isn't working on those items, but for me, it was really important to go, hey, look, this is the roadmap that's been on our website for a while now. And here, this is actually what we're planning to do week by week, and you can check in with us and we'll make announcements, and you can follow along as we're building things. And it was just really important for us to try to do things differently, try to over-communicate as much as we can. But you'll notice as well the way that we're communicating in the execution plan, these are just tasks that we want to get done rather than promises that, this is going to come or that's going to come. This is literally our schedule of how we're planning to execute our roadmap. So we'll happily answer any questions. We may be a bit too far into the AMA to deep dive into any of those, but 10 weeks are laid out in terms of what we're planning. Everyone jump in and have a look at the map. Have a look at the execution plan in the roadmap channel.
And I'll just say, and I think this is quickly too, this is why the VC is going to be good too, because we need to let Matt do his thing. And so for those of us who are really deep into it, like myself or Panda or Rad Hatter, etc., we're learning the ins and outs, and we're all listening to each other. So the VC is going to be a great place so that we can let the devs do their thing, and we can all kind of learn from each other. So I'll go to the VC after this if people have other questions too, and then maybe we can use this as an opportunity to continue to learn together. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for everything you're doing.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Lindy. All right, I will bring up the next batch of people here now. Illumi, Falcone, Hawk, Mr. Miller, H2O Bill. I have invited you all up.
Hello.
Hello. How's it going?
Hey, good. How are you guys?
Great.
So, I just want to commend you guys on all the work. It's clear you guys are giving it your all. One thing everything that Rad said, I agree with. I think he was spot on with everything he said. I didn't realize people were discussing things in the voice channel, and I was wondering. I like Twitter Spaces. I don't know if anyone has used Twitter Spaces, and I think the advantage of using Twitter Spaces is that it might invite people from outside the community to learn about the project, because it might show up in their feed that we're meeting. We do this a lot with Psychedelics Anonymous, and I think it helps sort of market the community, and it helps bring people on board. So I just wanted to maybe suggest discussing game theory and meeting in Twitter Spaces instead of the Discord. I don't know what people think about that.
Yeah, no, it's something that we've talked about a lot. We did our last AMA within Twitter Spaces. We wanted this one to be a little bit more intimate, I guess you could say, with the community and allow people an easier avenue for talking if maybe they aren't on Twitter or whatever the reason might be. We do plan to host the majority of our spaces or of our AMAs and calls in general on Twitter Spaces. We just really wanted today to be more just focused on only the immediate community that's been
So
interacting
this,
with
yeah,
us.
this one makes complete sense because you're basically just addressing all the questions that we have for all of us who are started playing the game. What I mean is, I think his name is Rad, right? Who just spoke like
Yeah,
a
Rad
little bit ago.
yeah, I think that's a
Yeah,
good idea.
I think Rad. It sounds like he's in there a lot. I think he should host in Twitter Spaces, and then it'd get a lot of people to just simply log in and start listening. Because I think people find it interesting, or if they constantly see the same community meeting, it piques interest and it gets people to jump on board. For a meeting like this, I agree with you. It's better to keep it a little more private. But for daily stuff or game theory, I think it's great to do it on Twitter Spaces. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Thanks, guys.
No, thank you, my friend. And I'll even gladly host some spaces myself where we can talk game theory and stuff. I do a lot of, hours and hours a day of work where I just sit at my computer and it's easy enough for me to throw open a Twitter space for some Bloodshed Bears game theory and let everyone jump in and have it be an open forum and operate like that. So I think that's a great idea. Might have to have our inaugural one tomorrow on March 1st, and I'll get a little space, drop a link in here.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, man. Thank you. Hawk, how's it going?
Hey guys, how y'all doing? Doing
Great.
good. Thank you for asking. I just want to say first off again, I know everybody's saying it, but thank you guys very much. Appreciate all the hard work. And then I'll get to the questions. So I wanted to start with and ask, maybe this was answered. I joined late. Sorry, I'm working. In the faction wallet, whenever I'm able to claim, once I claim, I see where it says I can move to the ERC20. Now that is converting the BLD into Ethereum. Is that correct?
No. So you have an in-game wallet where you have balance of BLD tokens that are held. You can think of it as like a paper wallet, like similarly with Coinbase, right? Like you have a custodial wallet there, so you hold Ethereum, but not actually physically you holding it. They're holding it and just populating a balance for you. That's the same way that BLD works in the game. It's a custodial wallet, so we hold all the BLD that's in game. Now, what you're doing there is you're actually taking it from your in-game wallet and moving it into an out-of-game wallet, whether it be a hot wallet or whatever it is, and then that causes those BLD tokens to be actually minted and transferred to your out-of-game wallet. Then from there you have the ability to swap or maneuver how you'd like.
So what exchanges can I do that on?
So we don't have any exchange listings, and due to OpenSea's policies, we aren't able to establish our own liquidity pool. It has to be established by the community. Matt, I don't know if you're aware of one. To my understanding, I'm not currently aware of one.
Yeah. Well, just to be completely clear, like I'm heavily invested. Just to transparency's sake, I think I have like 770 something NFTs from BSB. So I'm huge on the project. This is I'm very interested in being a long term. I want to be a hodler. I have no interest in selling. I'm curious as like how do we actually move it? Like what if it's all stuck on the in game and we can't actually move it out of game unless we're actually flipping NFTs. I guess my concern would be like, doesn't that eventually just reach a tipping point to where eventually it all stops because we can't actually move in and out off the game itself?
Oh, Matt, I saw you on mute. You could take this one if you'd like.
Yeah. So I think, Hawk, what tends to happen is that when it reaches that point, if not beforehand, the community does tend to create a liquidity pool for that exact reason. There will be people that have a vested interest in being able to move things around. Our focus is on ensuring that there is continual value on retaining the BLD within the ecosystem. We won't have control, obviously, if someone creates a liquidity pool, but I would imagine that that will happen at some point. You know, if you look at most projects that have staking, that does inevitably happen. So we have to be careful, obviously, because we don't want to be delisted from various sites like OpenSea. We think that would cause more damage than not. So I expect it will be created at some point, most likely before we get anywhere near some kind of tipping point. But our focus has always been on what can we do within the ecosystem to maintain BLD within the ecosystem. So don't have an answer in terms of timeframes. It's not something that we can really encourage. But
I understand what you mean by that. I was speaking with in the chat. I was speaking with he just spoke a second ago. Lindholick, I think is his name, and he was kind of walking me through that. It's my job to educate myself, not yours, on how all that's going to work and shake out. But that was just my main question. It's like, yeah, I understand the gas fees now. I understand how the staking works now. I understand how. I believe I've got it all from all the AMAs, so this has been very helpful. Thank you. But yeah, that's my main question is, you know, if we're unable to, eventually it'll just, it'll reach a tipping point at a certain area. So that'll, I guess, is on the community to do.
I guess it's a blend. I mean, it is in terms of, if we're just talking straight liquidity, it is. But in terms of continuing to add value in different ways that ensure BLD stays within the ecosystem as much as possible, and we never hit that tipping point, or it's a long, long way in the future, there's a lot of that's on us as project leadership. So I guess it's a 50-50 in terms of that specific question.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, thank you very much. I won't take up any of your time. That was my main question for now. So thank you guys. And if I'll be in the voice chats, and if anybody wants to talk as well, I really want to see if we can all figure out what the best strategy is moving forward.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Hawk. Mr. Miller.
What's up, guys?
What's up? How's it going?
A whole lot of nada, man. Just getting off work, trying to make sure I didn't miss this. This is my first really full on P2E game. I have a lot of friends who are in creeps, which is they kind of walked me through this, and a lot of them guided me this way and moved some of their assets over here. So, which is what turned me on. I wasn't able to mint. I actually bought a bundle 4-pack from OpenSea, got blessed with an elite. And so I was like, hey, I think it's just meant to be. I'm supposed to be playing this game. So my question, what I noticed is I staked my 4 bears, put them straight into the battlefield. And I noticed that when I did it, the gas was around 65 Gwei. And the cost wasn't as bad as the FUD I was hearing. It was 100 and around close to $200. And then I noticed when I got home while everybody was talking, I tried to unstake the 3 that weren't elites because I actually purchased a treehouse from OpenSea. It's going to put once I get to this certain goal, I want to get to this certain blood goal. My plan was to unstake them. And I noticed I got a 600 quote at 80 Gwei. I waited until the Gwei got to about 65 again, which was the same price. And it pretty much matched up with what I originally staked. So at first I raised my hand because I was wondering if there was a different fee for staking versus unstaking, because I was like, whoa, that's a lot different. But once gas got to around that 65 Gwei, it seems like that's kind of, I'm not sure for other users, but that's my magic number of reasonable. My one question I have, I guess now, because a lot of it's been answered, tree houses. I bought the treehouse before y'all posted the information about the sizes, and I ended up getting a treehouse with the number 1. That one is only an indicator of how many generators it can hold. It can hold a maximum. It can hold an unlimited amount of bears, correct?
So the size trait relates to anything that you would store within it. So if you've got a treehouse with a size trait of 1, then that is the size trait of that treehouse. It will hold 1 bear, or it would hold 1 token generator, etc. So there is a way to now check. I've posted that in. You pretty heard that. Yeah. So
I saw that part. Oh damn! So basically, I can't put my generator and once I get a generator and my bears in that same treehouse.
At this stage, no. But one of the items that we will be releasing will give you an opportunity to maybe add and upgrade the size trait of your treehouse. So that'll come. That'll be part of the upgrades and the buffs and the things that'll be dropped within the tree market.
Okay. So there is some options. Yeah, because I immediately when I saw tree houses, I had my game plan figured out, and then I saw people lowering their prices on tree houses, and I was like, wait, this cuts my goal to achieve where the strategy I'm playing cuts it in half. And then when I found out I had a 1, I was like, well, maybe that just means 1 generator. I can still put more bears. So no, so I got to go back to the drawing board. But maybe by the time I get ready to make moves, maybe y'all have already pushed that out. And it seems like y'all are already working on I wrote my questions down, so let me go back to my notes. I'm sorry. Y'all are finding ways to move blood and pieces around the game cheaper, or doing them all at once, from what I understand from reading. Y'all are working on some function of that, correct?
Correct. So I don't have an exact timeline. There's quite a few updates happening in the UI as we speak. But one function will allow you to move certain NFTs around with a single transaction, essentially. So right now, if you wanted to unstake from the battlefield and then stake inside the barracks, you'd need to unstake and then stake. We created in the contract the ability for you to move your NFT from battle mode to treehouse or to the barracks with a single transaction.
Okay.
That's coming.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. That's
coming very soon. It'll for sure be this week. The function in the contract exists. Obviously, it's just a case of building the UI to enable you to do that. So it won't be too.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I guess that pretty much sums it up there. I'm interested. I'm here for the long term. When I saw all the, I didn't even have, I've been at work all day teaching, and I didn't have a chance to even see the FUD in the Discord that everybody's talking about. I just saw the price and was like, oh man, I could buy a couple more. And I didn't know what was going on in the Discord. I was like, I figure you're going to have ups and downs and people who are not happy and to want to get out. And like you said, they have a place in this too. And for the people like me, I just saw a buying opportunity. So I was like, wait, let me make sure this treehouse before I go doing things that I'm not, make sure I understand what the tree houses do and what their size capacities are. So, okay. That pretty much sums it up. Thanks for your time, and I'll go back and be a fly on the wall.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Falcone, my friend, do you have anything for us? Also, guys, I'm going to invite the last requested people up here just because it'll be probably 2 hours by the time we get to all these questions. So these will be the last people that I've invited up. Falcone, do you have a question? It looks like you've got some weird insignia there for your microphone. Maybe try unmuting now. Hakuzu, General Beans, hello, my friends. How are you? Hakuzu.
What's going on?
How's it going?
Nothing. Like that last guy was like, "No, I'm out." He didn't feel like talking.
Yeah, I feel like maybe he got I don't know, something was probably going with his mic. But go ahead. Sorry.
I was just wondering what was going on with the gas when I tried to claim. I'm sure this was already talked about, but I wasn't in here, so I figured I'd just come up here and ask you again. Maybe you could give me a TLDR short version. Yeah, I tried to I only have 2 bears staked, and I wanted to claim my BLD, and it's like 0.3 or like 0.2. So what's going on with that? Somebody said it was like overestimating the price of gas to claim on the website. I just kind of wanted you guys to talk about it to me.
Yeah, so I mean, today there's been a lot of congestion. The gas has been pretty crazy, certainly from the morning. I haven't checked it recently, so that will be a contributing factor. But in terms of the claiming, so we've run some numbers on that. What's essentially happening is two things. One, there is an overestimation. There's a update that we'll be deploying within 24 hours, most likely within 12 hours now, due to time zones, that will fix a lot of the overestimating issues that's been causing the number to be displayed incorrectly, but also been causing some failed transactions. So that's the first thing, and that's concerned a lot of people, first off, because they're looking at a big number there. And then when you actually claim, it's often a lot lower in terms of the actual cost. The way it works, though, and we will provide a lot more content about this, we've sort of talked about this earlier in the call, is you're being charged per NFT, not for the amount of BLD, right? So we have an accumulative number that shows all of the yield. So when you go to claim that, there's a transaction happening on every single NFT to withdraw that into your in-game wallet. So the numbers that it should be when we've run some estimations is circa like, I think it's like 0.01 or 23 or $20 to claim per NFT. So if you've got 2 or 3 and you're seeing a 0.3, then it's very unlikely it would cost you that at all. That's an overestimation. But, obviously gas and congestion on the network, there's certain elements we don't control. So what we're going to provide, Hakuzu, is a bit of a guide around the types of transactions that take place within the ecosystem and some estimations as to what we believe that they should cost. So that when you do go to claim, if you see a number that's a bit crazy, then you can assume it's more to do with network congestion and you're better off waiting. So we're going to work on providing that content so you can make more informed decisions about when you do or don't do things.
All right, yeah, because I mean, gas is only 64 right now, so I was just, I guess I'll just wait. Yeah, I know that there's a lot that goes into this, and I know you guys are doing some pretty intricate stuff here. So, I mean, my stuff is staked. I'm here to just chill and see where it goes, So, I got my stuff staked in battle. I'm ready for action. So, I just, yeah, no doubt. I think what you guys are doing here is pretty cool. It's definitely intricate. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything, but I think I understand a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, I don't want you to reiterate too much. That sounds like I just got to wait a minute and see what happens next, right?
Yeah, we're working on a couple of things straight off the bat. The first things which we can solve, and another thing is providing content, right? So just to give you some information around how it works, why it does things, what the expected cost is, and then it's sort of clear and easy for everyone to see and make their own decisions. So there's some work we need to do in that regard, and when that comes out, it'll hopefully answer a lot of questions, and there'll be more that comes off of the back of that.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
Yeah,
thank you, man.
Shout out Helen Keller, huge fan. All right, goodbye.
Helen Keller, what's up, my friend? How's it going?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How you doing?
Good. Hey, I just want to take a minute to kind of brag on the community a little bit. I know that when this thing first got kicked off, there was a lot of people that were kind of new to P2E, and there was a lot of people the project got delayed. There was just a lot of FUD kind of circulating. Shameless plug to Llamaverse. We were sitting in our voice chat and we were looking at what was going on, and Rad had kind of mentioned, he said, hey, look, what if we go over to the voice chat and maybe help people? Because I know there's a lot of people that are concerned and scared and everything else. And so everybody was on board. Rad went to other Discords, kind of helped clear things up. We came in there, we started talking. It was very obvious when we first got there. There was a lot of people that were nervous, weren't sure, had a lot of questions. There was a lot of people in the chat that went out of their way to kind of help explain things and everything else. Guys, if you're considering getting into a project, this is the kind of project that you want to get into. Good founders, stuff like that are important. P2E games and everything else, kind of like Rad said, it's the community's working together, right? We're not trying to outpace each other. We're working together with a common goal in mind. I know most of the people that have a lot of these passes are in these groups. A lot of us are in Llamaverse and stuff like that. We're all staked. We're in this. We're in this for the long haul. We're not nobody. The conversations we're having in there, the conversations that we brought over to the chat and Bloodshed Bears, it's all bullish. I think a lot of people are starting to see that and wake up. I know that, again, it's always concerning when stuff like this happens, FUD early on, everything else, but people are working through it. I think there's a lot of people that have a genuine interest in helping each other. So good team, good fundamentals, a good roadmap, a good plan for the future, and a good community is always going to be a recipe for success. So I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody in the voice chat for the last couple of days. I know I was in there till about 3:00 in the morning. And there's been a lot of people spending their time trying to help people through this. And I think that now you've got a whole community that kind of understands where we're going. And I think it's just up from here. So I just want to say, once again, thanks to all my fellow Llamaverse people and everybody else who took the time to go out of their way, spend the time in there to help educate people, help clear up some confusion, and put this thing on track.
Thank you, man. Thank you a lot. Honestly, we appreciate everyone coming from all of our communities, whether it be Llamaverse or Crypto Monks or FMC or Whale Together or Alpha Sharks or a million other that we've worked with and have seen great help and support from their community. So thank you to all of them, and especially a huge shout out to not only Llamaverse but NFT Llama himself. Finding the project and supporting it and getting his community behind it. And Matt and I every day talk to each other, and hopefully we relay this enough about how grateful we are for the community that we have. And it wasn't always like this, but from the very, very, very beginning, Matt and I always put an emphasis on building the community. And you can ask people that were here from day one and minted the MetaPass with us. We've always wanted this community to be something where people want to be around each other and they want to spend their time in the Discord and they want to interact. And bringing in communities like Llamaverse that have just not only added to that friendliness and positivity, but have also brought in a wealth of experience and knowledge has just been so valuable to us. So thank you. And I want to completely agree with everything you said in terms of the quality of the community that we have here and how it's just setting up the project along with everything else for a lot of success going forward. All right, Dusty One.
Hey, how's it going? This is Dusty. I'm from the Rug Burn community. A bunch of us minted the MetaPass. It was like super late at night. I was about to go to sleep, and all of us kind of got pinged like, hey, you should probably check this out, and minted out super quick once it started getting going. So I'm glad we're all kind of here. Rad Hatter's also part of the Rug Burns. But I want to thank the team. I've so far enjoyed the game. The gas issues, it's just an overestimate. You guys just wait till, Gwei is a little bit cheaper. It ends up being a lot less and a lot more manageable. I've been posting screenshots in the general chat, kind of trying to show what I'm trying to unstake or claim or what have you. And at, different Gwei levels, what that ends up kind of estimating for you. Basically anything over 70 Gwei, it just kind of, escalates. But sounds like you guys are working on that. So I don't think it'll be an issue going forward. So yeah, I just want to thank you guys for taking the effort of answering all of our questions and really putting in the time, whether it's in voice chat last night, which is pretty crazy. I think we all had a good time kind of talking strategy in there. I know a couple people popped in. There's one other UI thing that I noticed, and I don't know if maybe this has something to do with why people's unstake or stake is kind of escalating too high. If you are in the regular website, and let's say you selected an NFT within the treehouse to unstake, and then you go over to the barracks and it doesn't deselect the one in the treehouse. It keeps it selected, and then you can go into the barracks and you can select another one. You can go into the battlefield and select something else, and whether it's a transaction that can happen all at once. It doesn't deselect any of that. I don't know if people are expecting it to deselect. Another thing that I noticed was I selected one of my bears to unstake within the barracks, and then I went to go see what it would cost me to claim my blood. and it actually showed both of the transactions one after another. So something to consider. Maybe people are selecting a bunch of different stuff and then thinking by exiting that screen, it's deselecting these items. It's actually not. They're still all selected. So that might be why people are getting overestimates in gas and whatnot.
Yeah, it's 100% one of the contributors. So good pickup. The reason why it wasn't deselecting is because obviously we were enabling the ability for you to pick multiple different collections as well as a treehouse and stake them all together in one transaction. So with the update to the UI for the treehouse, that issue will go away. So we're aware of it. It is definitely a contributing factor. So thank you, man. Thank you for raising that and letting everyone know.
Well, it's not even just like within the treehouse on its own. It's within the treehouse, and then let's say I selected stuff to unstake in the treehouse, and then I exit the treehouse and I go to the barracks. It will keep those ones in the treehouse selected also. So I think that's kind of it doesn't deselect it even when you exit that platform. That location.
Yeah, got it. And it is, as I say, it's definitely contributing to the gas because the interaction is like, well, we need to do this action with all of these T's rather than just the one action you're trying to do. So it's 100% contributing to the overestimation, and it will be solved. It's been identified, and that's one of the updates that will come out in the next 12 hours.
Awesome. Sounds good. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Dusty.
For sure.
All right, General Beans, do you have anything to wrap us up? Do you have any kind words, questions, closing remarks, anything for the women, men, and children in the audience?
Yeah, can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. Thanks. I actually just kind of wanted to hop up, and I don't really have any questions, but I just wanted to say I've seen a handful of NFT launches. I've seen a handful of P2E launches, and I just wanted to come up and say that this community is I'm super proud of you guys. I'm proud of this community. I'm proud to be a part of the community. I'm proud to be, part of the team and help combat some of that FUD that was going on yesterday and today. I just really wanted to make sure I got up here and just said thank you to the community members here because we've got a pretty stellar team here, but really it's been echoed so many times in this AMA that the community is really what's king. You guys are what keeps the ship going. And I genuinely cannot express my gratitude to you enough. I notice you, I notice the folks who are here, I notice the folks who are contributing and helping, and just know that I see that and know that I see you and know that I appreciate you. And so, I just wanted to just make sure that I took the time to come up here and say that because it truly is remarkable between the delays and between some of the concerns and stuff like that. It's been just so cool to see the people that have the vision, that see the project for what it is, and for the hard work that have been put in by Matt and the devs and the team. It's just truly moving. I actually, frankly, have never experienced it in the NFT space like that before, where there have been so many people who are rallying to the call of being like, no, you guys don't get this. Like this project is like some next level stuff. And so, thank you guys. I truly am super proud of everybody. And, that's it. Thank you. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Beans. I think you captured the essence of how all of us that are on this team are feeling, and whether it be the moderators or community leaders or founders, from top down, we can't say enough thanks to the community. And even the fact that it's a Monday night, or at least for me it is. It could be Tuesday afternoon for Matt living in the future over there, but we've held between 250 and 150 people in here for an AMA for 2 hours now. So I really just want to say thank you to you all. This project wouldn't be what it is without you. And obviously there's a lot of things that we control on our end, and we will do our best to deliver in a timely and proper manner on everything that we can. And the rest, it just falls on the community, and how strong can we band together and what will we be able to accomplish over the long term? And all the best projects, like seriously, you don't look at the best projects and think, wow, they've really got a great developer or they've really got a great team. There's very few projects where it's like, oh, this team is amazing, and that's what people talk about. No, they say this project is amazing. Look at the community. It's so strong. It's so active. It's so passionate. They don't want to sell. They don't want to this. Blah blah blah. They take part. They all this and the next thing. It always comes back to the community. So we're nothing without you guys, and that's why we always want to make sure you understand that you're a priority to us in the decisions that we make and the way that we execute the things that we do. So I'm going to end it off here. It's been 2 hours. Thank you all for your time. We probably answered 20, 30 questions, so hopefully if you had a question it got answered. And otherwise, stay active in the chats if you have anything else. I'll host a Twitter Space game strategy session tomorrow, so stay tuned for that announcement. And yeah, we're looking forward to everything that's coming in the future. With Matt, the developers, the whole team is really doing everything that we can to execute at the highest level, and we expect nothing less than success in the future. And we won't settle for anything other than what this community and what this game and idea deserves. So thank you for your time. Thanks for being here. And it's a pleasure as always to share the stage and the floor with all of you. So Matt, if you don't have anything, I think we'll end it here, and thank you all again.
Just echo your thoughts, Parker. Appreciate everyone in there, and we look forward to chatting on the next AMA or Twitter Spaces.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you. Good night.